throat this steer.
Yeah. Well, hello, this is Susan Hamilton. You're listening to the Offbeat Business Show. Thank you for sharing your valuable lunch hour with us. Today, I've got a treat for you. We're talking with Brenda Wakefield of Hands of Choice Therapies. Hello, Brenda.
Hi, Susan.
Hey, thank you so much for being here today.
Always.
Because as you know, we represent the 80% of American small business owners who tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means, as you see all the time in your practice, I'm sure, I mean, we're building our businesses, taking care of our kids, taking care of our parents. We probably have a veteran in our family or in our workspace that's either bringing their A game with skill and discipline, such as yourself and your husband, or they might be struggling with reintegration after deployment. And those can be big focus issues, can't they?
Absolutely.
And then more and more of us have addicts in our family. So you probably see a lot of people needing help with recovery in your practice.
A few. It's been very interesting recently. It wasn't an addict, but it was a young man who had a stroke. I'm telling the tale. Got to start again.
Okay. We can do that because this is digital media.
So it was not, went to the wrong one. No, he's paralyzed. Okay, there we go. But anyway, he was paralyzed from, while being in the military, from the flu vaccine. Go figure.
Imagine that. So there's actual stories of that, Brenda?
There's actual stories of that. And he was paralyzed, or he is paralyzed from the neck down, and got to do some cranial sacral therapy on him, which was absolutely amazing. He's been paralyzed since 2009, and he came in for a session. He's been in for a few sessions. But the results that transpired just after a couple of sessions, it was transforming for him and very eye-opening for me. And he was able to feel sensations in his lower extremities, where on the right side he had felt something going on before, but it constantly spasmed. He was always in a spasm whenever his leg laid flat on the table. And as we worked through that process, I was able to also use lymphatic drainage therapy on him, where he had some knots in his calf muscles, and he was just like, yeah, that's been there all the time. He says, so whenever my leg lays flat, he says, my leg just spasms. So with the lymphatic drainage therapy, being able to move that stagnant fluid out of that area, the leg calmed.
Oh, thank God.
It was amazing. And at the other side, the left side, he hadn't felt any sensation since 2009. But as the process of the nerves being able to fire and start to fire, he started to feel sensation on his left side, and he was just like, I haven't felt that in a while.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God. It was just, that's one of those moments of tears, and you remain professional. It was like, that's great. That's what you're supposed to be feeling. But for him, he was just ecstatic. I was too. And as the process is being worked, not only with the work that I'm doing, but also with the chiropractor that I share space with, he's been working with him as well. And the young man's been able to take some steps now. So we're talking physical
That's so
stuff.
exciting.
It's just like, wow, that is just huge. And I say for me as a therapist, but for the client themselves to actually be able to feel that, it was just amazing. And as his wife and baby were waiting in the waiting room, I just went, I love babies. So while they were waiting, I said, well, can I touch the baby? I just wanted to feel her rhythm. And so I did, and I just touched her, and the heat was just pouring off her where she had the restriction in her neck. And the baby was 5 months old. And a couple of days later, saw the mom there again. And she says, I don't know what you did. She says, but my baby used to cry every time I would put her in a car seat. She said she would scream bloody murder.
Oh, wow.
She goes, since you have worked on it, she goes, she doesn't cry anymore. She goes, what did you do?
And how often do we mistake that, right? Because in our busy lives, we think we've got a fussy kid who doesn't like the car seat.
Right.
We've heard that a million times. I'm probably guilty of that myself, raising 5 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody walks around with this tension in their body that comes upon from the brain and the spinal column. We're speaking of the nerves and the membrane that covers the brain and the spinal cord, and it gets tight. The body is designed to handle so much stress, but we have stressors thrown at us every day, especially in the society in which we live in nowadays. That is an abundance of overdrive that we live in. So with that, when the body tightens, and it causes the other systems, because everything is interdependent on each other. but it causes the other systems to not function as properly as they should. So that's why I tell people craniosacral therapy is so important, because that's your main drive of your body. That's your connectivity. That's your control center. And if your control center is not functioning right, other parts of your body aren't going to function right either. So if we can get up under the hood and get you that Spider-Man suit, as I like to allude to, it's that webbing that we have, and help that webbing loosen, then things will be able to function much more appropriately as they should. It's not a, I tell people, I say it's not a one-time good deal. It's like you come in and you get your tune up and it's just like, okay, I can run on down the street and I'm good. It's a consistency. It's that repetitiveness of being able to have the body get maintenance on a regular. So if you get it done on a regular basis, you feel better and you can function better. And time after time after time, as the clients can testify for themselves, to get the feedback from them. I had a mom text me on Friday.
Yes.
A 5-week-old is when I first saw him. He had a vacuum extraction. That means that they put
when he was being born.
When he was being born, in order to get him out, they put the vacuum on top of his head, the suction, pull him out. Poor baby. That was creating trauma to his tissue, which it did, because the baby just cried. But the mom knew something wasn't right. She goes, it was her first one. She says, I know babies cry, but something is quite not right. So she brought him in, and sure enough, as I was holding his little head, he's just screaming bloody murder. But I told Mom, I said, he's going to cry, because as he releases, as that tissue is able to relax, yeah, it's going to hurt. Because just like having, your arm go to sleep, when your arm wakes up, it starts to, it hurts just a little bit. So as that blood flow is able to move more through that tissue with the work that's being done, it's going to help decrease the pain. So even after his first session, she brought him back, and she was like, she goes, I can tell the difference. And the picture that she sent me on Friday, she said, this is his favorite hat. He wears it proudly. And I was like, yay!
Oh,
it was just like when I get that feedback from people, it's just like, I know the work is working. I mean, I know that it works. And I just tell people to be open to the process of letting the body recover and heal itself, because it can, because that's the way God designed it to be.
Yes, ma'am, and I totally believe that. I've really been so appreciative of all the work you've done on my husband since his stroke.
Yes.
And helping him to have that peace, because he's got a very tense job, and he has to the way he holds his neck, and that makes such a difference. And I see when he comes back from seeing you, his face muscles are just relaxed. Those are the eyes I recognize.
There you go.
It's that. And I think that is so important. And friends, that all through May, we are sharing veteran issues. This is the veteran vein focus of the Offbeat Business Show and Magazine during May, July, September, and November. And Brenda Wakefield with Hands of Choice Therapies is our military veteran sponsor. And I want you to be so familiar with her, because I see it making a difference. I see it making a difference in our families, and I want you to consider what a huge difference this makes in your business, because we're tense. These leg spasms. How many of us get that just from wearing heels all day?
Right. Yes.
Seriously, those are common things. Those shooting down the pain, down the leg,
nerve, and people come in and they may not understand. He's like, well, I have this pain, but it could be related to another part of the body, because when the body gets this trauma in it. And it's not just in that one space. It can travel. So if you can get the release of maintenance within the body will feel so much better. And I tell people, even with with the military, and it's not just military, with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. People can get it for various reasons with traumas that they experience. But this is a great way to help release the PTSD as well, to feel better. You're dealing with depression. And when your body is in dysfunction mode, you can feel uncomfortable and not understand why as to what's going on. Or you have this tingling going down your arm. You're sitting at a computer all day long. And when your body gets tense, it's the oxygen flow isn't able to move through that tissue as it should. So if you have a decreased flow of oxygen, which is being carried by the blood, and it's not getting through the tissue as it needs to be, then yes, you're going to have pain. So if you come in and get body work done, and there are so many other modalities that's out there. I tell people, get something done. You know, it doesn't have to be craniosacral therapy, which of course that's my preference, but that's what I'm more biased towards because I know that it works. I can speak for what I do, but I know other things work as well.
Sure.
But if you give your body the maintenance, then it will be kind to you because you're the one sitting in the driver's seat and the body can do no more. If you don't take it to get work done, then it's going to give you back what you're not giving it. So I try to help people to understand, get the work done, you'll feel better. You'll be able to sleep better. You can decrease the pain.
Yeah, and that's going to help your immunity, right? Because
yes.
that sleep is so important to be able to have that full relaxation.
Yes.
And I would think that really bears down on communication, especially in our office communication and communication with our customer and client base.
Right, because if you're feeling bad, you don't want anyone speaking to you. You know, it basically is like, but you're going to be, when you're in an environment and you have people around you all day long, you may think that the people are getting on your nerves, but the real problem is you because you don't feel well. But if you feel better, then you can be better around other people, but you have to give your body the work, get the work done so that you can feel better and be pleasant around other people. Because if you're not sleeping, you're going to be grumpy. And sleep is so important too. That's when the body heals itself, is when you're sleeping. You know, when you're getting this outside work done, that's just an additive. But the real work is being done when your body's sleeping, when it is in that quiet mode, and the body can repair. And as you know, people say, well, I ask people, do you eat breakfast? And they're going, I don't have time for that. Well,
I eat breakfast.
Went to bed. Hopefully you did eat. But while you're sleeping, your digestive system is working. So when you get up in the morning, that food is digested. And so now you're going to get up, get into your busy day, and you're working on empty. So how are you supposed to feel? You're not going to feel good because the fuel is not there. You're running on fumes. So the fuel that your body needed in order for it to function, you have failed to give it. And it's not in the way of a donut.
I know. I really don't like that donuts are no longer a part of my life. I say that's a temporary
it's everything
thing.
In moderation. Not saying that you can't have one. That's not what I'm not saying.
I don't want to eat one.
Okay, good
I
girl.
like donuts. I want to eat 6.
Okay.
And Brenda doesn't want me to eat 6
I don't want
donuts.
you to eat 6.
But I'm just being honest with you, friends. I got a thing too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to give your body some fuel in order for it to function. Because can your car run on empty?
No, and it doesn't.
Exactly.
I roll out of bed hungry, and I'm not afraid to say it. But I'm weird about that. I eat salads for breakfast. I like fruit and good greens and olive oil and Parmesan, and usually stick some raisins in there. I like a good salad for breakfast.
Well, I can do the salad if it's juiced or something, but just to eat it, I mean, that's my weirdness because my husband knows that. I don't like eating. If there's not a breakfast food, I don't want it in the morning, and that's just me. That's
I had to train myself out of it, but I do.
Okay.
I decided just to go for it, and that's what I do for Randy. And Randy asked for them now.
Oh,
so
very good.
I think we're getting our greens in because it's the end of the day. You don't go to the trouble of making a salad.
Yeah.
All right, friends. I hope you're enjoying this conversation with Brenda as much as I am. Obviously, she's very knowledgeable in these areas. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit more detail because there's a lot of things you don't know about Brenda and a lot of things that she's doing at her office that are actually even just add to the effectiveness she has with our overall health, our immunity, and we don't have to be taking a bunch of medications, and I really hope you don't, because we got to have our head in the game, family. We've got to really be kicking some butt in our businesses. We don't have a whole lot of time here to make a big difference. Our communities need us, so we've got to be operating at our A game, at our top efficiency and effectiveness, and optimal health is definitely a step in that direction. So when we get back, you'll hear more from Brenda Wakefield. You're listening to the Offbeat Business Show.
Está good.